Imagine a life where you're doing exactly what you were sent on earth to do, and not just in any kind of way, but in an excellent way and in a fulfilling way. On today's video, we are going to be talking about the subject matter of purpose. Oops, sorry guys. Welcome to today's video. So on today's video, we are going to be talking about a book, one of the books I spoke about in my previous video. If you haven't watched that video, please, you can do that right now. Watch that one before we continue. Alright, so the book is by Pastor Mensa Otabil. So Pastor Mensa Otabil is a preacher, he is a philanthropist, he is an entrepreneur, he is a motivational speaker, and he is also the founder or general overseer of the International Central Gospel Church with headquarters in Ghana. So the book consists of 211 pages, thereabouts, and it has 16 amazing chapters. So if you are looking forward to read that book in a month like me, you would need to calculate the number of pages, and then you know exactly how many pages you'll be reading in a day. Trust me, you're going to enjoy this book. The book is about what God tells man after God creates him. So God creates the heavens, God creates the earth, and God now creates man and tells man, look, this is what you are expected to do in this environment that I have put you. Alright, so he tells man to dominate. He tells man to have authority over what he had created. And in this book, the writer talks about different processes in which you can dominate. So we have dominating by being fruitful, multiplying, subduing, and replenishing the earth. So you might be asking yourself the relationship between all of these and the fulfillment of purpose. So after you find your purpose, first and foremost, according to this book, after finding your purpose, you have to dominate in it, because finding your purpose is knowing what you have been called to do, and the area, like limiting yourself to, I don't know if limiting is the right word, but narrowing down what you are supposed to do to basically a niche, a particular audience and a niche. So you have to dominate in the area in which God has called you, and you dominate through these 4 different ways that the writer talks about. And the first one is to be fruitful. So that's the first thing God tells man, to be fruitful. He likens the whole situation of being fruitful to a seed. First and foremost, you have to identify your seed. So this is a process of you finding your purpose. You identify your seed, and we know that there are different types of seed. We have plum seed, we have banana seed. Do we have banana seed? we have mango seeds and all sorts of seeds. So you need to identify your seed. So the writer uses this metaphor of a plant and talks about identifying your seed, the right seed. Identifying your seed is you discovering things that you do so naturally. If you can sing naturally, if you can draw naturally, if you notice that you easily encourage people just naturally, then it is likely that that's where God has called you. And things that you really love, things that you're passionate about, that's you identifying your seed. The book also talks about taking hold of your seed. Taking hold of your seed is accepting your seed, accepting what you have been called to do, loving it, falling in love with God, what God has called you to do. And I think most times, even me sitting here, I used to look at other people's lives and I'm like, why am I not doing something like what these people are doing? Because they make it fun. They have accepted what God has called them to do. They have accepted their passion, and they are living their purpose, and they are happy it could be difficult, but irrespective of the challenges that they are facing, they just soar through. And that's the reason why sometimes you look at them and you are like, you admire them. But you need to accept your seed. You need to be passionate about your passion, about what you have been sent to the world to do. You also need to sow your seed in the right environment. I think this analogy of a seed is perfect for the discussion of purpose, because when you find what God has called you to do, God always tells you where to fulfill purpose and the people that you need to surround yourself around in order to fulfill purpose. So yeah, you need to sow your seed in the right place, express what God has called you to do in the right place, and you need to allow your seed grow. You need to allow your purpose to flourish. And growth processes are different based on the kind of seed. So your growth, the growth in the area in which God has called you, is not going to be the same as that of others. So you need to understand that. That's what the book talks about. And then you need to flourish. You need to be excited about what you're doing and you excel in it. All of this definitely has its own share of work and challenges. The multiplication stage is like the creative stage, and an analogy or an example is you having an idea. At this point, it is known just to you, but then when you execute the idea, it gets to the public. It's just like having an idea about a product that you want to produce. It stays with you until you finally produce that product. So that's how it is. And I also remember an example that he gives about if you are from this part of the world, Africa, especially Nigerians who understand this better. He said there was this mama put around where he lived. I think they used to go and eat there, and it was just very local, very, very local. And he was surprised that after some years, when he had left that area, he came back around there and he noticed that particular place was exactly the same way that it had been. No renovation, no changes, nothing. So he was trying to explain or give a picture of you not multiplying, you staying in the same position as you have always been, having an idea, executing it, and staying just there, not moving from one level of success to another. It's one thing to be fruitful, to succeed. Like I said before, I think I said fruitfulness is to succeed, but it's another thing to move to the next phase of your success. Success is at different levels. So if you succeed to start a business and you stay in the same position and never growing from one level to the other, then you're not multiplying. And then he moves to talking about replenishing. Replenishing, according to him, means to occupy available space, to gain ground, and also it means to restore. So you move from phase 1 to phase 2, and now in this stage, that's when people get to know what you're doing. People get to be aware of the influence that you're creating. So about the lesson that I have learned as an individual, as a person reading this book, what challenged me the most when I was reading it is the fact that when God leads you to what he wants you to be and what he has called you to do, usually it usually comes across like impossible. So most of the times when God addresses what he wants me to do and what he wants me to become, I'm like, am I talking to me? Am I the one trying to overhype myself or what? So what this means is, if you're a child of God and that God has called you to do something, it can be overwhelming. It can be really overwhelming. But again, he equips you to fulfill that. and he will definitely not show you the very big picture all at once, but he will tell you what to do at every single point. There is nothing really mystical about this. It's just you waking up in the morning and an idea popping into your mind that is in line with what God has called you to do, and you walk in that particular step, and that's how you move from one level of fulfillment of purpose to another. It doesn't just happen on a big stage like that. It takes time. That brings us to the last level or process of dominating. I'm going to read exactly what I wrote. So he talks about this in chapter 13, where he talks about subdue the earth, and what it means is to conquer exceptional barriers, to control untamed elements and areas, to cultivate for useful purpose. Cultivation begins with the cultivation of yourself, so it starts with you and then it extends to the rest of the world at large. So guys, I'm going to be very, very frank with you. We cannot do justice 100% to these books. There is something that reading in between the lines does to you. You gain 100% all that which you need to. So picking up this book and reading it is going to do you a whole lot of good. But thank you so much for sticking around in today's video, and look forward to our next upload by next week. Have a lovely time.